married to a member of the New York State Supreme Court, so was privy to all the backroom hearings and goings-on, and at the time was appalled by it, but only knew a little of it. And then when that individual decided he no longer wanted to be married to somebody as wonderful as me, I became a victim to the power and the corruption in the court. And ever since then, I have been reporting. This is only one of the issues I've come across. I have reported these issues to Jonathan Lipman. I have reported them to Judge Kaye. I have reported them auditor to auditor to the New York State auditors, Dennis Donahue, I believe, for the OCA auditors, who unfortunately seem to think that they take the direction from OCA. They do not seem to understand that they are independent. I have reported it to Cheryl Spatz. I've reported it to New York State Attorney General. I reported it to Frank Nicolai. I know all the players.
Okay,
I know them by first name. They've done nothing.
All right. And your educational background?
My educational background is I'm a certified accountant. I have a bachelor's of science in accounting, and I have a double master's in marketing and finance.
I'm going to make a recommendation to the chair to put in place, because this is extensive, and some of the information that you are sharing with us in one hearing, we're not going to be able to bring it out, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be some duplications in the testimony.
I agree.
What we would need, because I think that the best way to resolve inefficiencies and corruption in government is to allow the people who are personally touched by the matter to empower us with information. So I'm going to ask the chair if he would put in place a task force that would be comprised of individuals like yourself and those who are victims to assist us in navigating how this problem is being hidden from public view. But what's important, and the reason I ask for your background, both professional and education, is not that is important to me, but when we attempt to go up against exposing corruption in the judicial system, there are those who are going to question who's bringing the complaints and information. That's why it's imperative what Senator Diaz was saying to you, sir. Any accusations we make must be well documented. If you made calls and inquiries to the state auditors, to the Attorney General or anyone else, if you wrote letters, and that goes for you or anyone else in the audience, if you have those documents to show the paper trail that there has been a refusal to look at this very important issue. And I think a task force with someone like yourself and your extensive background, and particularly some of the intimate relationships you may have had that know firsthand of some of the problems, I think it would help us push this issue years forward, because we're committed to finding a resolution on this issue. We're committed to doing that, but we need your help in doing so. And if I could just, I just want to ask you two questions, Mr. Chair, if I'm permitted. And if you could just give me some brief answers. I know that, and I think that's one of the statements we want to let everyone know. I know this is an emotional issue, but we want to give the respect for the entire list of people who want to testify, and we want to try to be as not as wordy as need be, so that we could put the information together. How widespread do you see this problem as being?
Well, from the surrogates court perspective, I see it as extremely widespread. Based on my knowledge of the politicalness of the appointments of the surrogates court, and how it's actually viewed as a candy jar kind of appointment, where whoever gets that position gets to dole out lucrative appointments to the attorneys, the players, the party players. In divorce court, it's somewhat prevalent, the issues. Some of it is actually due to the lack of training, and I'm sad to say, in certain cases, ignorance on the part of the judges, and that was part of my presentation. I'm trying to, and I hear what you're saying, Senator, address this not just as the insider and the victim, but also my auditing brain as to what we can do in terms of resolving it. So there are indeed many individuals within the system. In fact, there are some present here today. He's making a sound. Sorry, one of my many accreditations is CPR training.
Well, that's
One of the problems is we do have individuals within the court system who know the problems and are trying to fight it from within, but whenever they speak up that little too loudly, they either find themselves ostracized, find their credentials and their career on the line, or they're demoted to the hinterlands.
What we need is that from you and whoever else is present, and I'm sure the chair is going to give you a website, but there are three things that we need. Number one, as I stated, we need some form of a task force. Number two, we need some very clear, specific recommendations in a bullet format, because we get a ton of information. If you send us a dissertation, it's not going to be read as often as need be. If you give us the category problem solution, that's where we're at right now. Problem solution. That would be extremely helpful. How much of this do you feel is based on incompetence or corruption?
In the surrogates court, sad to say, I would say it's mainly based on corruption, political corruption. In the other courts, a lot of it is based on incompetence. One of the particular issues is people with disabilities or cognitive, emotional issues or whatever, which are a lot of people in the court system. The courts are just ill-equipped to deal with this, and the amount of abuse from the attorneys, from opposing counsel, from the judges themselves. There was an issue just this week where a woman with traumatic brain injury was before the appellate court, got through explaining to the appellate court what her problems were, and right in front of her, the lawyer kept badging her that she kept repeating herself. Now, first of all, that is a symptom of traumatic brain injury, but no one on the appellate bench stepped in to stop the attorney from badgering her in such a fashion. She should have been protected, and as you know, our returning vets are suffering from TBI, so this should be understood by the court system.
True.
So there is a lack of knowledge.
Lastly, how effective do you believe the systems are in place to respond and report to those allegations of corruption?
Actually, very ineffective. The systems that are in place now, like I said, the internal auditors within OCA seem to feel that they report to OCA. They are not independent. The investigators, such as Cheryl Spatz, and even the Attorney General, are limited by law as to what they can respond to. And I think what the system really needs, in fact statewide, are independent auditors, an audit committee that does not report to anyone in the court system and that can step in at any time and do an audit. The problem with investigations by lawyers is you're now governed by legal statutes. Attorneys have to obey whatever the Senate says. Auditors report to federal standards. So we have more discretion. If I was an attorney investigating, I would have to get a subpoena. I would have to go through a discovery process. If I'm an auditor and I suspect you of fraud, I show up. I don't tell you I'm coming. I walk right in. So the problem right now is, with the way things are run, by the time you go to catch the fox, they've already hit all the chickens.
Thank you,
Senator
Chair.
Perkins. We've been joined by Senator Bill Perkins.
Okay. Thank you.
I just want to ask her one quick question, particularly as it relates to the surrogates court. I don't know. I didn't get the benefit of her opening remarks, so I'm not sure if I'm on the right path. But you mentioned the surrogates court and the corruption and the political corruption. Did you mention that?
The way surrogates court is set up is largely handles trusts and estates. So you have people who cannot speak for themselves. They're either disabled or they're dead. So what happens is a lot of times guardians are appointed, trustees are appointed, accountants are appointed, sadly members of my own profession, who get these appointments by nature of the amount of political campaigns that they give to the judges who hold these positions. Now, technically everybody's supposed to report their contributions to a judge, but for every rule there's a loophole. My ex-husband used to go into his judge's chambers and pull the contribution lists off his desk when he wasn't looking and bring them home and show me everybody's mother-in-law, brother, ex-wife, or whatever. They made the contributions through third parties. And then what happens at the meet and greet is whoever the person who really made the contribution, they show up with the ticket so they can shake the judge's hand, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, you know I'm the one who's really paying for your black bathrobe. So in return, when the judges get their appointments and now sing in Surrogate's court, they return the favor by appointing these individuals to trustees of these multi-million-dollar trusts for the disabled, and or to guardians or whatever of the deceased. And I said what the problem is, though, the way between the corruption of the appointments, which guarantees that no full accountings are rarely done, despite the law saying they have to be, between that and the inability of the individuals in the system to understand what to look for, and the limitations of what is allowed in the discovery process, it's a perfect storm for anyone who wants to go in and deplete the assets of a disabled victim.
So the surrogates, you seem to be somewhat familiar with the process of this corruption.
20 years married to the mob.
20 years married to who?
My ex is a New York State law secretary for the New York State Supreme Court, and his judge is one of the most powerful political judges in Westchester County.
Okay.
His golfing buddies are George Pataki and Donald Trump.
Okay. So now, I'm just wondering, with that depth of knowledge and appreciation of how the process of corruption takes place, have you had an opportunity to share that with the appropriate authorities other than
I sadly just gave them the laundry list. Yes, for the last 6 years I have reached out to everybody I could think
I'm sorry,
of.
okay.
Yes.
You don't have to repeat it.
No, that's fine.
So then, having done that, you're talking about the surrogates throughout the state or in any particular area, or Westchester only?
Well, I initially started with my claims and accusations and findings with the divorce courts, and then expanded that and became known and was asked to start doing some writings for a local newspaper.
I'm going to focus just on the surrogates for a moment. That's all, because I don't want to take too much time. Okay, so now again, your surrogate research is statewide, Westchester, New York City. Give me some sense of.
It started out as Westchester. It's now becoming statewide, but this is beyond your jurisdiction. It seems to be national, but it is definitely statewide.
Focused at all on New York City?
I have gotten some New York City cases, yes. I have had 2, 3 so far just in the last couple of months from Queens and Nassau County.
Opportunity to share your information with the DA's office or anybody of that caliber?
I only just recently filed with the New York State Attorney Generals to inform them that I want to pursue this with them. But I filed it to the IRS whistleblowers law for protection. I just sent that into the IRS.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Thank you very much, Senator Perkins. Ms. Wilson, thank you very much. I guess we wanted to have a further conversation with respect to the cases that you're working on and maybe get more in-depth involved, especially when we create this task force, okay?
I'm most willing to be as most helpful as I can, and Senator Adams, if you manage to get that task force together, I will gladly be a member of it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Senator Sampson, I'd just like to take another 30 seconds. I'll make it 30 seconds. Our elders are not, these are our beloved elders, they're not farm animals to be harvested. There's a line in the Bible that says, as you do it unto the least of these, you do it unto me. Reverend Diaz, you know that. My background is the same as yours.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
The next speaker is Victor Kovner. Is Victor here yet?